Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
And now, the A+ League.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the A+ Sports League podcast. Week 9 NFL picks, predictions, Survivor. It's going to be a nice, good week. It's November 5th today. Beautiful day in Quincy, Massachusetts. With me, as always, I have Nick Cometta and Matt Livinati. What's going on, guys?
What's happening?
Good morning. Going well today.
That's my line.
Oh, my bad. Catching on.
Well, today I think we're going to have a nice, exciting week. We're going to change up how we do things. Instead of talking about each and every game, we're going to each pick 2 games we like this week, go a little bit more in depth, and then the rest of the games we're going to kind of just do rapid-fire quick picks, just let you know who we're going with. If you followed our picks last week, you probably lost a lot of money. We did not have a good week, unfortunately. I think most people had a tough week across the NFL, though. Last week, the best record was Matt Livinati at 7-7.
Woo!
Nick Cometta 6-8.
That doesn't make sense.
And I came up the rear, Matty Mai Tai 5-9.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, here we go. Well, really, the Jets is the stupid one I picked. The Chargers we all should have won, but they're a sad disappointment, almost like the president. Too soon?
Stick to sports, Matt.
Too soon? Okay.
Wait, which president are you talking about?
The sitting president. Yeah.
Hey.
All right. So let's just jump right into it. First night of the week, we have Thursday Night Football. All right, the Thursday Night Football slate, we've got the Green Bay Packers at the San Francisco 49ers. Spread currently is San Francisco plus 7.5. Over-under set at 48. What do you think, guys?
I wish I took this when it opened. 4.5? 3?
Yeah, the Monday show.
Obviously now with all these injuries, they're going to be out. The latest is with COVID. We're going to see if this game's even played tomorrow night. But Brandon Ayuk's out, Deebo Samuel's out, George Kittle's out.
Kendrick Bourne is out.
Yes, and what do they have left? And you might just say to yourself, oh, well, Kyle Shanahan can just run 4 running backs out there, but they don't have any healthy running backs. I'm going Green Bay.
See what you're doing there? The other injury notice that I want to make clear is that the Green Bay Packers are without A.J. Dillon and Jamal Williams, who both also have COVID or are on the COVID list. And Aaron Jones is trending towards not playing tonight. So they are on their 4th-string running back for Green Bay. I agree with Matt, though. I think San Francisco has just lost too many pieces. Between the guys that they have on COVID, Kittle's out, half the defense is out, Coleman's not going to be playing. It's scrap parts in San Francisco, and as good as Kyle Shanahan is, I don't think he can overcome it. I'm going to take Green Bay minus 7.5. I wish I had it earlier.
I'm going to also take Green Bay. I liked it at -3. I'm going to take it at -7.5. And for fantasy-wise, who is that? Tyler Irving? Dexter Williams? Who's the running back?
Irving, probably. I mean, it's going to be a rotation, I imagine.
So if anyone's really in need for a running back, I would go with one of those 2 guys.
I did grab Dexter Williams at a couple.
I mean, obviously, I said this last week. This is also going to be my prop bet of the night. Davante Adams will be highlighted heavily in this matchup with Aaron Rodgers. I'll give you those stats after we go into the prop bets of the week.
Let's say. Well, do you want to just jump right into the prop bets, or?
Oh, we'll go after that.
We'll talk about it later. I think honestly the play that you might want to go after is under 48 here. If there's so many players on each side of the ball that are out offensively, I mean, San Francisco, I could see them only scoring 10 points.
And that's what I was going to say. I don't know. I don't have it up in front of me here, but if the team totals make sense, it might be something to go with the Packers, whether you bet the under on the overall, but then go over on the team Packers or whatever it is. But yeah, I don't see San Fran scoring too much here.
I think I'm playing the under tonight. Just talk myself into it. Okay. All right, with that, that's the Thursday night preview. Now we're going to jump into our Sunday slate, the Sunday Six.
Well, I got 6 games on Sunday that I'm releasing absolutely free. These games are a burial, a blowout, a human lock. You can bet your unborn children on these 6 games. Absolutely.
We have chosen a couple of games here. We have Seattle and Buffalo that Matt is going to talk about. Baltimore and Indianapolis I'm going to talk about. Nick has Denver and Atlanta. And then we'll jump into some later games where we have the Raiders and Chargers, the Saints and the Bucks, and then the Pats and the Jets. So those are going to be the matchups we really dive into today, and we'll kind of jump through those. I think I'm just going to lead off, guys. First matchup I want to talk about, the Baltimore Ravens at the Indianapolis Colts. Spread is +3 Indy. I've kind of seen it shifting 2.5, 3.5. It's moving a little bit. Right now I see it at 3. Over-unders at 47. So this game is tough to evaluate for multiple reasons. Just like the Thursday night game, this matchup has COVID implications. The Ravens have had some COVID issues. I know for a fact that Patrick Queen, the middle linebacker, is going to be out for the game. So is cornerback Marlon Humphrey. So they're going to be down 2 players. And the Baltimore Ravens also are missing their best offensive tackle, Ronnie Stanley, who will be out for the year, broken ankle, suffered it last week playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers, a tough matchup for the Baltimore Ravens last week. It was a tough-fought game. They were leading the whole time. Pittsburgh just churning away, making little chunk plays, throwing deep balls that weren't even getting connected, but they were drawing pass interference plays by Baltimore all week. And now you're out Marlon Humphrey. That could be an issue. I think Baltimore's going to be out for blood after coming off this loss, but they just haven't looked the same. Lamar has not looked good. It's actually funny because Baltimore is number 1 in the league in rushing yards per game this year, just under 200, similar to what they did last year. But they are 31st in passing yards per game, which is just kind of shocking considering they got the reigning MVP back there, and he's just struggled to pass this year. People are saying, we are going to drop 8 in coverage. We want you to pass on us. I mean, good luck. If you want to rush at 5 yards a carry, we'll let you do that all day, but we're not going to let you pass. We're going to drop back, beat us with your arm. And so it's been very interesting. They're still putting up the 8th most points in the league this year, but I think a lot of that has to do with the defense, putting them in good field position. They're 9th in the league in turnover margin right now. If we go into some advanced statistics, DVOA, Baltimore's defense is 5th, but their offense is 20th. So they're really getting carried by their defense, and actually their special teams is 1st in DVOA. So they're really getting by without the offense. The offense could make some big splash plays this week, but I'm really worried about the defense now that they're going to be out some of their key pieces. I mean, Patrick Queen's the middle linebacker. He really is the defensive play caller for them, and then you take out a Pro Bowl corner. And I think Ronnie Stanley being out is really just underrated. Like, it's something that doesn't get talked about very much, especially when it comes to COVID issues or fantasy implications. But going into this week, before he got hurt, he was the number 1 offensive lineman when it came to winning as a tackle on a pass rush.
They just gave him a 5-year extension. They just paid him. I think it was last Saturday.
Which, God bless him that he got it when he did. But he wins 97% of matchups on the edge on pass rush. So all of a sudden you take that away, and Lamar's even under more pressure. So he's going to be scrambling like crazy or rushing throws. Indianapolis, on the other hand, let's jump over to them real quick. Indy has looked great coming out of their bye. They beat Detroit 41-21. The strange thing is they did it without Jonathan Taylor last week. Jonathan Taylor was their high draft pick. I really thought out of the bye he was going to take that next leap and really just kind of establish himself as one of the premier running backs in the league, but he only had 11 rushes for 22 yards, did not look great. Apparently he has an ankle injury. I'll put that in quotation marks, but And the funny thing is, it didn't seem to matter because Indy put up 41 points without him, and they did it without T.Y. Hilton either. T.Y. Hilton left the game with a groin injury. He hasn't practiced this week. He may or may not play, but I don't think it really affects the Indy offense. They've been doing it with their hodgepodge cast of tight ends, which is fantasy darling Trey Burton from a few years ago, the Irish assassin Jack Doyle, and the tallest man in football, Mo Alley Cox. So they have those three tight ends that they just keep rotating and using in different ways. And then Nyheim Hines was basically a receiver last week. They used Jordan Wilkins a lot, and Taylor still played. He's still going to play. He might not be as effective, but they rotate those three running backs, those three tight ends, Zach Pascal, Michael Pittman. I didn't name you a Pro Bowler on that offense. They're all just like outcasts, and yet the Colts are still putting up points. And I think a lot of that has to do with Phillip Rivers and the offensive line. The offensive line is one of the best in football. It's given Phillip Rivers plenty of time, and he has, over the course of his career, had plenty of bad players that he's had to throw to, particularly the Dontrell Inmans and Travis Benjamins of the world. So he can do it with these guys. He doesn't need T.Y. Hilton. I'm going with the Colts this week, +3 at home. I just think the underdog at home will be big. Baltimore is going to have trouble getting pressure on Phillip Rivers, even though they have Ndakwe playing this week, which I think is a big addition, but I don't know how many reps he's going to have, and I just think the Indianapolis offense is going to be able to offset that. And when you take away Humphrey and Queen on the defense, I think that's big. They might even lose some more people to COVID. It's still not announced all the players that are going to be out from that. So I'm going to go with Indy here. I think they can pull off the home underdog play. Even if they lose, I think they cover. Put me down for Indy.
It's a long-winded response just to say how much he still likes Phillip Rivers right now. He didn't mention it much, but he's like just sitting there with his bias. He had the
I see his motives.
I see it. It's a Phillip Rivers show.
When I first, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. When I first picked this game, I was leaning Baltimore, and I just dug into the numbers and looked into the injuries, and that's where I am.
Well, if you're leaning Baltimore to start, I'll go with Baltimore to start.
Okay.
I think I said it last week. Didn't really happen. Lamar Jackson gave up a couple bad interceptions. I'm going to think Baltimore is going to continue to figure it out, put it a little bit more together. I think Lamar Jackson has a big game this week. It's going to be Baltimore -3 is my pick.
The note here that you wrote down that surprised me the most about this matchup here is that Baltimore has the 5th most penalties per game. For a Jim Harbaugh coach team, that's surprising to me. That coupled with their defense, I mean, their defense is still great, but it's not as good as was originally thought at points during the year. And I'm still, with that being said, I'm still leaning Baltimore. I think that they need it. That they've lost the 2 big games they've played this year against the Chiefs and the Steelers, and they kind of got smacked around in both. I think that they got to come out and prove themselves here.
Well, Matt, I need to clarify something. You lean or you pick? Because we need to make picks on this show, and based on last week's picks, I need to be very certain.
My caveat, no, I'm going Baltimore.
Baltimore is the pick. Okay.
I'm just saying I don't feel super strongly about it, but yes, Baltimore is my pick.
Terminologies he's using.
So
maybe not.
Okay, we're locking it in. You heard it here. I will replay it if he changes his mind next week.
Lock it up.
He'll say, well, I said Baltimore gets a lot of penalties. And they got more than 7 penalties on defense. So obviously I meant to pick Indy.
So one caveat I want to leave for this game, one little fun fact stat, is that Baltimore is number 1 in rushing yards this year, but Indy's defense is 2nd in rushing yards allowed. I think that's where the game is going to be won in the trenches, and I think that Indy's going to be able to disrupt Baltimore's rushing attack and stop them.
Makes sense.
All right, on to the next game. We'll pass it over to Limonati. We've got the Seattle Seahawks at the Buffalo Bills. Spread is Buffalo +2.5. Also seen this line move to 3.5, so it could change. But right now for this, it's 2.5, over under 55. Matt?
So Seahawks are pretty well favored here if they're laying 2.5, 3 away. I don't think Russell Wilson's going to have much of an issue with this defense. Seattle in DVOA is 3rd in offense, and Buffalo's 23rd in defense for DVOA. Seattle's offensive line hasn't been great, but it's been a hell of a lot better than in years past. And they're great with rush blocking. In terms of pass blocking, it's not great. I think they rank 23rd, but Russell Wilson is obviously a goddamn magician back there. And with Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, it looks like they're getting Chris Carson back potentially, and they definitely get Travis Homer back this week. So now they've got 3 running backs with DJ Dallas there. Carlos Hyde's going to be out. But I just don't foresee Russell Wilson having an issue. There's nothing prettier in the NFL than one of his dimes dropping it 60 yards down the field to Lockett or Metcalf. And
I've heard they call it rainbows now.
yes, rainbows, sure. If we're being politically correct, I guess. And the Seahawks, double rainbow. The Seahawks are going to be able to put up a good amount of points. I just don't foresee the Bills being able to put up as much. While the Bills ranked 8th in offensive DVOA, Seahawks are 21st. I just the greater discrepancy in matchup here is going to be Seattle's offense versus the Bills' defense. You know, this Bills team was built on the notion that this defense was going to be above average to close to great. I'm not talking all-time great, but a great defense for this year. That hasn't been the case. It's now been, hey, Josh Allen, go win us games. Our defense is below average. Go out there and carry the entire team. That's not how this team was built. Josh Allen has taken a step forward this year, it looked like, for the first 4 weeks. But are we going to get those first 4 weeks Josh Allen or the last 4 weeks Josh Allen where it kind of reverted back to what he was doing last year? And with Seattle's pass rush, it hasn't been great this year, but a low-key trade I'm kind of pissed about, but not really at the same time, is the Bengals traded away Carlos Dunlap to Seattle for peanuts, a 7th-round pick and a backup center. But honestly, I'm grateful of Dunlap in his 9 years with us. I hope to see him do well. I hope he gets a damn ring with Seattle because he deserves it. And I'm taking Seattle with the points.
Very well said. I am on the Seattle wagon. I like Seattle. I think they're going to just, I mean, I said this last week, and I got criticized a little bit. I thought the Patriots offense, as bad as they are, they looked somewhat decent and were able to move the ball against Buffalo in Buffalo.
Take that, Bill.
So if that's any indication on a awful Patriots team, that's an offense that I didn't say was. It just showed me a little bit more that they can put the team together. It puts drives together. Obviously, Seattle's one of the top offenses in the league. Seattle, and the points is what I'm taking.
I really want to take Buffalo. I've been leaning Buffalo this whole week. When the line opened, I thought Buffalo would be favored. I think they can put Tre'Davious White on either Metcalf or Lockett and let him stay out there on an island and then just double team the other guy to stop Russell Wilson. And Buffalo defense strength, I think, is stopping the run, which Seattle is struggling with this year more than usual. So I think if they can figure out a way to cover those 2 dominant receivers, that Russell Wilson may struggle. At 2.5, I'm going to take Seattle, but I have another line on a different site that's 3.5, and I'll be betting Buffalo at that number. That's how I think it's going to be that close. And it's a West Coast team traveling east. That's what concerns me. Buffalo, I think, could just play well at home. So.
But to your point real quick, Buffalo is 22nd in the league in rush blocking, and Seattle will get a small boost now with Dunlap. Their rush defense has not been great. He is a decent run-stuffing D end, but I get where you're coming from. At 3.5, I probably would take Buffalo, so that's my one caveat for this kid. No, I'm taking Seattle. Nick and I are. It looks like Bird's going Buffalo. No,
I'm going Seattle for this. I'm going to. I said this at 2.5. I'm taking Seattle in the Pick'em League here, but I have another line at 3.5. I'm going to bet Buffalo at 3.5, but for this, I'm taking Seattle.
We got consensus then.
Yeah, consensus on Seattle. Okay, on to the next game. We have the Denver Broncos at the Atlanta Falcons. Nick's Atlanta losers. No, I'm just kidding.
Are you?
I mean, we
kind of not really.
We take that with pride. I mean, right now, so
Atlanta is favored 4 points in this game. The over/under is set at 50. Nick.
Everyone, I think, in the same boat will say, why is the Falcons -4 in this game? Denver's 3-4 going into this game. Falcons 2-6. Denver has been yes and no. I mean, they had a great comeback against the Chargers last week. I look at this game. Calvin Ridley probably will miss this game again. He hasn't practiced at all this week, so most likely will miss this game, and the Falcons will rest him. However, I don't know why I'm going to say this. I'm going to go with the Falcons and the points.
Homer.
The Falcons in the last 3 years, the last 8 games have been 6-2 the last 3 years. They know how to get into that mid-teens draft picks. They're going to probably figure out this year they have a tougher schedule because they play the Saints twice, the Bucks twice, and the Chiefs. So maybe they won't go 6-2, but they will win to figure out how to win against these Broncos, Raiders, and Chargers that they play down the stretch. I think they win a few of these games. I think they push back into that late draft pick. I just don't see them being a top 5 pick in the draft, and that's why I'm picking the Falcons. That's all I see is future picks. I still think Julio Jones is going to be playing well. Matt Ryan is still putting together a decent season. Todd Gurley finds the end zone every time.
Even by mistake.
It's going to be a turnover matchup. I think the Broncos are -7 this year on the turnovers, which the Falcons defense has created some over the last few weeks in Carolina and in what was the last one? In Detroit and also in against Minnesota. They found these turnovers. I think they continue that. Once again, I'll keep this simple. I mean, I'll let you guys think if I'm crazy to pick the Falcons, but I'm picking the Falcons. I think it's. Part of me thinks that this line's too good for -4, and everyone should be betting Denver, which is why I'm on Atlanta.
I mean, clearly Bird's not even paying attention to you because his ears didn't even perk up when you said that the Falcons were going to beat the Chargers later this year. But
we'll get there.
I want to agree with you. Atlanta does make sense here, and I don't have faith in Drew Lock, but I can't take Atlanta -4. It doesn't make sense. And I know you're trapception, a trap of a trap, but
it's a trap of a trap. And if you guys haven't caught on, I kind of hedge my happiness a lot.
Yes, you do.
So here, if I say the Falcons, I look smart and they win. But if I don't, hey, that's good for me.
I'm taking Denver.
Little did I know that Falcons are probably going to win by 3 or less and hurt me in both ways.
I have a question. Calvin Ridley at practice yet?
No.
Give me Denver.
Denver
+4. Atlanta might win the game. They're definitely not going to cover. Okay. Let's just talk about real quick. We'll jump through the rest of the 1 o'clock games that we have on the slate. Houston-Jacksonville. I'm taking Houston -7. Jacksonville has a backup quarterback.
Houston will be my survivor pick. We'll get onto that later on. Houston -7 as well.
Agreed.
I think Robinson can run, but it's just not going to be enough. All right, next game. Carolina at Kansas City. The spread, Kansas City -10.5, over under 53.
Kansas City 10.5. They at home. I'm going to take them with almost any spread against mediocre teams. Even though McCaffrey seems like he's
probably going
to play, but I think his load's going to be limited. I don't think they're going to give him 100%. I think it's going to be a split between Davis and McCaffrey. So I still want Kansas City to cover.
Agreed. Nick, your libs?
I'm going to have to lean Panthers here. I'm taking the Panthers. A lean just means I'm not super confident. I'm going Carolina.
If this was a little higher, I'd probably be on Carolina, but at this number, I think McCaffrey is going to be limited. Give me Kansas City -10.5. Next game. It's off the board right now because Matt Stafford just came down with COVID, so he won't be playing, and their backup is Chase Daniel. Not a bad backup to have, not the best, but Detroit at Minnesota, it was -4 last I saw. What do we think it will be with Daniel? -6?
I think it goes to -7.5.
I think that they're going to keep it at 6.5. I think it'll stay under a touchdown for a divisional game against 2 mediocre teams.
How about this? We just make it 7. We'll make it 7.
For ours.
For the sake of this argument, let's make it 7. Over under was 52. It'll probably be 50. I guess it'll come down a little. So with -7, who do you guys like?
I like Minnesota. They ran the ball very well last week. They're going to probably do the same against Detroit, who can't stop it. And it's going to be a Dalvin Cook special again.
You're throwing me off here. I was preparing for -4. I still think I'm taking Minnesota, though.
Same, and I'd probably lean the under because both these teams are just going to run the ball, and there's going to be very little passing. So,
Yep.
Next game, Chicago Bears at the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are favored by 6 points, over under 46.5. Nick?
We brought this up last time when we talked about the Saints, your mortal lock last week against the Chicago Bears. The Bears just somehow play close games.
Yep.
They do.
And I don't know why that I want it. I'm going Tennessee. Because this is why I start to think they play all close games. And this is where the Bears show, I think, their true colors. I don't think they're that good of a team. They have a really good defense that keeps them into a lot of games. They slow the clock down on offense. I just don't like. I think Tennessee's going to show up again after that stinker against Cincinnati. Tennessee in the points.
I'm going Chicago here, and here's why. Because a lot has been made about New Orleans and how bad their defense has been. And quote-unquote bad is just because the expectation was that they were going to be great. They're still ranked 8th in DVOA, and Chicago in defensive DVOA. And Chicago kept that game close against a very good defense. The Bengals just beat the Titans. So I just think that the Bears are at least able to keep this close within a touchdown. I'm going Chicago.
I'll give a little tidbit for you that I saw on last week's broadcast. Vic Beasley and Jadeveon Clowney, the two defensive ends for the Titans, are combined 0 sacks this year.
Yep.
That's pathetic. They just added Desmond King from the Chargers, but he's not the same as he was. They don't even know where to fucking put him. Tennessee's defense is just too fucking bad to even cover a touchdown. I think Derrick Henry will run all over Chicago, but Matt's right. Chicago's look good against some good defenses. They beat the Bucs. They look good against the Saints. Big Dick Nick has been a revelation. Give me Chicago.
I think Ryan Tannehill continues to turn back into a pumpkin with this too, just with how good Chicago's defense can be of beating the Bucs rushing 4, getting to the quarterback without rushing more than 4.
How dare you talk bad on Ryan Tannehill? He has proved time and time again
that he is average.
He is a above average quarterback.
He is the new Andy Dalton, Mendoza line.
Don't say that to Andy Dalton. Tannehill at least made it to the AFC Championship.
Andy Dalton still without a playoff win. Okay, next game. New York Giants at the Washington Footballs. Line is Washington minus 2.5, over under at 42. This just reeks of the shit game of the week. I really don't have anything to say. Washington minus 2.5.
I know I'm going to go with this. I really like this game. I mean,
the hell is wrong with you?
That Washington is a team that may contend, is probably the second best team in that division. I know everyone's saying the Giants look good. The Giants look good. They're playing against crappy. I mean, Tampa Bay was good, but they had a good game plan. Tampa played kind of bad. Defense kind of they ran the ball over that defense with Gallman, which was a little bit surprising. I like Washington. I'm actually going to put this as my lock of the week.
Washington lock.
I am going to make this a consensus and take Washington as well.
I think they're just a better coach team, and they're coming off a bye. Giants are in a short
minus
league.
2.5 is just too close. If it's 3, I'd be more worried.
That's a nice lock, yeah.
2.5 is just not there.
All right, that wraps up the 1 p.m. slate. Now we're on to the 4 p.m. slate. We'll just jump right into one of the deep dives here. We got the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders at the Los Angeles Chargers. It's Raider Week in LA, baby. Marty Schottenheimer used to pump us up for Raider Week. Big rivalry game. We've owned them over the years, but recently it's been a little bit of a struggle. Chargers are favored by 1 point. This line has moved all over the place. It's been a pick 'em to -3 to no one really knows what to do with this game after the Chargers, again, blew an Atlanta Falcons level lead against the Denver Broncos last week. Over-under's 52.
And now go Chargers!
That's right. Arnold knows what's up. The Raiders this year, I've actually been pretty impressed with them. They've looked pretty good. I like Derek Carr. The offense has been good. They can run the ball. The offensive line is strong. The receivers have been okay. Renfro's a cute little underslot player. Henry Ruggs has the ability to go down the field and burn you every time, and our secondary looks like shit, so I can see him doing that. Darren Waller.
Are you telling me I should pick up Ruggs again? I just dropped him again.
I love Ruggs. I think for the rest of the year, Ruggs is a great play. I would hold on to Ruggs as long as you can. I think the biggest problem, though, is that this Vegas defense outperformed itself last week. They held the Browns to 6 points. I don't know if that's more Baker Mayfield or the weather or what it was, but this Raiders defense is not good. They have a good couple of pieces, but it's overall pretty bad. They are 29th in sack rate. I believe their DVOA this year, when it comes to the defense, is actually 31st. Yep, second to last in the league. I think the way that Justin Herbert has been playing this year, he has looked phenomenal. He makes the occasional bad throw, but he has yet to have a bad game. He eventually will. I don't think it's this week against the Raiders. I think he will tear apart this Raiders defense. Our offensive line, all practice this week. First time all year. Brian Bulaga played last week. He's going to have a second week under his legs. Trey Turner is going to play this week, which is rare. We also got Storm Norton, another XFL player who was practicing this week. So I think the offensive line is going to come back and stop what putrid Raiders pass rush they have. Herbert's going to have all the time in the world. They averaged 5.5 yards rushing last week against the Broncos between Justin Jackson, Tremaine Pope, who is going to be out this week, and Joshua Kelly. But the run game is there. The line looks better. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams have looked great. Herbert looks great. I think we're going to pass all over them. Joey Bosa is not playing this week. He has a concussion. He will be out, and he has been by far the strongest player on this Chargers defense. Our secondary has looked pathetic, as you could see last week when Denver just drove down the field on us. I think this is going to come down to who has the ball last, to be honest. I think that's what it's going to come down to, who has the ball
A
last.
Chargers game coming down to the last minute?
Of course.
What?
Of course.
You said a lot of back and forth, so where are you going with this?
I am going with the Chargers -1.
Go Chargers, go!
That's damn right. Yeah, go Chargers, go. I think the Chargers offense is better than the Raiders offense. I think it will be a very close game, but at the end of the day, give me the Chargers. The Money Badger may have to hit a field goal, which scares the shit out of me, but I'm going to take the Chargers -1. And I think over's the play, by the way. 52.
Agreed on the over, 100%. And in terms of which side here, I am somehow the third week in a row taking the Chargers as favorites. I'm stupid. I haven't learned.
I will agree that no, they definitely can, and they probably will. I think people are giving this Raiders team a little bit of a bad rep. Very well coached. I think John Gruden has a chance. They continue to be coach of the year with what this team is doing. Everyone he's brought this team back into contention, into the playoffs. I think they're very well coached. I mean, they lost 2 games this year to the Bucks and Pats, and back when the Pats actually looked decent. I think people, and maybe they lost to the Bills as well, but I think the Vegas Raiders are my play here.
You sounded like you were going to the Chargers, but now
I think teams that continue to stink and remind me that they could be better. The Chargers remind me a lot of the Falcons, and I don't trust the Falcons, so I don't trust the Chargers.
Funny by you though,
but you picked the Falcons.
You did.
You just gave me this whole argument how the Chargers are similar to the Falcons, but you picked the Falcons and now you're picking against the Chargers.
Falcons -4, by the way. But you do bring up a great point.
Yeah, if it was -1, I'd probably pick. But the -4 doesn't make sense in my mind. I went back and forth.
It's a trap within a trap within a trap.
Yeah, this one's way too easy for Vegas. I think the over is a good call, but Vegas' defense has shown to put some stuff together. Their offense still looks good. Derek Carr looks probably better than he has all.
He's been consistent at least.
He hasn't been turning the ball over a lot. He's been throwing the ball well. Josh Jacobs they're controlling the clock, which is great, but the Vegas Raiders are going to win.
Do you remember 14 months ago when everyone was laughing at John Gruden? Because he does have a legitimate chance at being coach of the year. We were all laughing at him at the beginning of last season.
Well, it was more just to do with AB, honestly. I think that was the.
It was that. It was trading Khalil Mack. It was the Hard Knocks, knock on wood. And everyone was he was a laughingstock.
He was.
I mean, I love John Gruden. He's my guy. I'd run through a wall for that man. I'm going to leave you with a little fun tidbit. Nick was talking about how good Derek Carr was. He has been very good this year. He only has 5 interceptions, which is one of the lower ones in the league. However, when it comes to takeaways, the Raiders are tied for last in the league. Their turnover margin as a team is -4 because they only have 4 takeaways this year, tied with the Houston Texans and the Green Bay Packers, and those aren't good defenses. So I'm going to just be convinced that the Chargers defense is bad, the Raiders is worse. Next quick game, we'll do quick picks for the 4 o'clock games. We have the Miami Dolphins at the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals are favored by 4.5 points, over under at 48.5. Tua looks okay in his opening debut, but the defense and special teams really rallied around him. I don't think it's enough. Arizona off a bye. Give me them -4.5.
I'm leaning Arizona as well. I'm taking Arizona. I mean, Tua didn't look great last week against the Rams defense, and they got, like we already recapped the last show, Miami got touchdowns defensively, special teams, and then Tua got 1 touchdown, but he only threw for under 100 yards. I don't think that they're going to get that lucky again, and I'm taking Arizona.
Part of me wants to go with you guys with Arizona, but
the hook scares me, honestly.
It's a little bit much. This Miami defense is very well coached. What Tua does, I mean, they against a surprise. We all said this Rams defense was going to tee off on them. They did the first play. He had a bad throw, but it was an unlucky interception.
Yep.
But he game manages well. He did it in Alabama, and that's all they're asking for him to do. It's a Patriot style, obviously, with the coach. It's Patriot style offense where they game manage control the clock, control the possessions, and get the defense to show up well. Do I think it's enough against Kyler Murray? I said it last week, or I said it in the beginning of the podcast. I think Kyler Murray has the ability to move in the pocket. Arizona is where I'm going to go, even though I do like.
Yeah, I wrote down Miami. I thought you were going to go that way.
It's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think.
The line scares me almost like the Falcons. Yeah. It feels like a trap almost.
I think they have too many weapons.
Well, I think the key matchup is going to be the Miami DBs of Jones and Howard against Hopkins and Kirk. I think that's going to be really where the game is won or lost. But I think Arizona's going to overcome it because I don't know how Miami's going to score. They don't score defensively or with special teams.
No.
You put Patrick Peterson on Devontae Parker, and it's Preston Williams and Tua and Myles Gaskin to come beat me. Come on.
And Myles Gaskin's out.
Oh, he's not even playing?
No.
Oh, well, Matt Breida then? Jordan Howard?
Exactly.
Please. All right. On to the next game. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers at.
Upset there.
That's ridiculous. Pittsburgh Steelers at the Dallas Cowboys. This line is Dallas plus 14 at home.
No more Gucci Danucci.
Over under 42. What do you mean no more Gucci Danucci?
It's Cooper Rush.
Oh, Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush will be the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys this week.
Well, Andy Dalton is definitely out, so it's
who?
Cooper Rush.
And if Cooper Rush gets hurt or sucks, Danucci will be the guy. I don't know where they're finding this scrap heap. I mean, I know a perfectly good quarterback out there. They go grab.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Well, yeah, I mean that'd be a good
I thought
one.
you were talking Kaepernick.
That's who I was talking about. We call him Kaepernick. Yeah, I guess you can trade for Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Trade deadline's over. Not happening.
In either event, I don't think you could make this line 50 points. Give me Pittsburgh.
Another red rocket with Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Red rifle. I don't know where your mind's at, but
Red Rocket. Yeah. Pittsburgh minus 14, guys.
Pittsburgh done.
Yeah. Consensus picks there. And that's a short list for a Survivor team. Next game, we'll go shoot over to Libs. We got New Orleans at Tampa Bay. The line is Tampa minus 4.5, over under 52.
I don't know how you guys gave me like the 2 best matchups this week to talk about it. We already kind of did a deep dive into Seattle and Buffalo. Yeah, in a draft style. And New Orleans at Tampa is the other. This is a Sunday night game, primetime matchup. Brady versus Breeze, divisional rivalry.
And these two teams, like I already kind of alluded to, New Orleans, their defense is been a disappointment this year, but they are not bad. These two teams are ranked 7th and 8th. New Orleans is 7th in offensive DVOA, 8th in defensive, and Tampa's 1st in defensive overall throughout the league and 6th in offensive. So this is just a matchup of two Titans, two teams that, the Saints have been.
The Titans are playing?
Thanks. The Saints have been somewhat of a disappointment and have not. They have Super Bowl aspirations. They are clearly going all in for this year. They are $95 million over the cap for next year. That right there tells you Drew Brees is retiring at the end of this year. This is their last chance. And we're not going to know if Tampa gets Chris Godwin back this week until Friday at the earliest with his fractured finger. But I just don't believe in this Saints defense enough, and I believe in Tom Brady and this pass blocking O-line, who's ranked 2nd in the league in terms of pass blocking, I think 10th in rush blocking. I think that they're going to be able to cover the 4.5 here. The Saints won earlier in the year when these two teams met up. I think that the Bucs are now a better team. They've gotten used to each other and figured it out offensively, and the addition of Antonio Brown, we'll see whether he plays 10 snaps this week or 35 snaps this week. Bruce Arians is coy as always with this, but I'm taking the Bucs, laying the points.
Okay, I will go next. Tampa Bay is getting Michael Thomas back this week. He practiced Wednesday.
Oh, really?
He practiced Wednesday.
Tampa Bay is getting Michael Thomas?
Sorry. New Orleans is getting Michael Thomas back. He practiced on Wednesday. Also practicing on Wednesday, Emmanuel Sanders. He is off the COVID list. Those are their two big offensive weapons that they've been missing, which has made this offense a little anemic. And before the break, Emmanuel Sanders had looked great with Drew Brees. He had built up the chemistry. Now he's ingratiated with the offense, and now you get Michael Thomas back. Alvin Kamara's a little banged up, but he's also such a weapon. I think the Saints defense is underrated. I think that they've been playing well. They stopped the run. So if you can stop Tampa's run, it's up to Tom Brady. And I know he can burn you, but I don't think he covers the spread. He might win the game, but 4.5, it's too much. New Orleans, going back to my super lock this week, New Orleans plus 4.5.
I mean, I'm only taking the Bucs if Michael Thomas isn't playing.
Fuck off.
I don't like that. I don't like this. What Matt Libanani said, not your pick. I like the Saints.
You seem indecisive.
I am. This is. It goes back and forth. I think the Bucs had a close game, and then they kind of have a blowout game. But like you said, I think Michael Thomas is a big factor. Having him and Kamara is too tough of a matchup defensively. I'll take New Orleans with you.
Okay, New Orleans. Matt's a different one there. Okay, and then
NFC South splits all the time.
All right, so let's jump over to Monday Night Football.
And you would take Tampa.
We've got the New England Patriots against the New York Jets. Jets are getting 7.5 points. 42.5 is the over/under. This is the revenge game in terms of Sam Darnold. This is the ghost game. Nick, what do you got here?
I've looked at this game so many times because I want to pick the Patriots as my survivor pick, but I just don't know what to think of this team. Part of me, I'm trying to get into Bill Belichick's head, and it's a tough head to get into. No NFL coach has done it, but I'm trying to get in there and say, I don't think he'd actually tank. This is not would anyone believe that the Patriots are intentionally tanking?
Let me put it this way. I know the Pats and Jets play Week 17. If there's even a chance that they can stop the Jets from getting Trevor Lawrence, I bet you they lay down that game.
Oh, yes.
So this is they would have to lose this game too.
It depends. I think they don't.
No, the Jets haven't won any other games.
They could beat somebody.
They could beat one team, but if they win this, it's then back to 2 games they have to win. So 7.5 is a lot of points. I don't think. I mean, if we want to go down stats, Patriots are 18-2 since 2011 against the Jets. Only 2 of those have been in overtime losses for the Patriots. Obviously, Tom Brady, obviously big factors. In the last 8, they've covered 7 points against the Jets. They're 8-0, and they've covered 7 times by 7+ points against in the last 8
Wow.
matchups. And so I just don't know what to think of this game, but I'm going to take the Patriots in the points. I'm a believer that Cam Newton can control this game. I think 7.5 is a lot, but I think they get that field goal to make it a 2-possession game late to win this by 10 points.
I was leaning Jets the whole time, and as you're sitting there talking, I trust that Belichick will get this offense figured out. Like I said in the last podcast, New England always takes a while to fully form their offense and figure out who the hell they are, especially with the new QB. I'm taking New England.
I really want to take the Jets. I really do. I took them last week against KC, which obviously was stupid. The Jets did really. I'm going to go back to the Bills-Jets game from 2 weeks ago. The Jets were able to control Josh Allen in the pocket. He didn't get to run very much. They held that team to 6 field goals. They looked good. It's a similar style offense, a lot of running, a lot of quarterback runs, and the occasional deep ball. The Jets on offense, however, they have little glimpses. Braxton Berrios, Denzel Mims, they look like they're going to start driving, and then they take a stupid sack. They throw a pick. Darnold sees ghosts. I mean, I just don't trust the offense, and New England's defense is better than Buffalo's. So I think they'll have a better time. You just sat here and shit on Buffalo. I know New England isn't what they used to be, but they're better than that Buffalo defense. Especially if Gilmore's playing.
Gilmore's a big piece of it.
We don't know if he is, but he obviously wasn't traded.
He wasn't traded. I think he's going to play. My point of this, I'm going to take New England. I think Bill Belichick is just going to establish that we may not be the best team in the division anymore, but we're not the worst, and we're not losing to the fucking Jets.
Agreed.
He hates this franchise more than anyone in the fucking league, I think. So give me New England.
And the Giants. Both New York teams. City.
I think the Jets more, man. Anyway, so that'll wrap up our picks for the week. Libs, who's your super lock?
I did forget to mention that, and I think I'm going with Baltimore at -3 against the Colts.
Your super lock against my Indy Colts. Oh my God. Okay,
That is a ballsy pick.
That's a ballsy pick for super lock. So Baltimore is Lib's super pick. Washington Footballs is Kameta's super lock, and the New Orleans Saints is my super lock this week.
Can we do over-unders on locks as well, or no? Or are we just doing spreads? What do we want to do?
We can do an over-unders if you want to do. I'll lead off because I already know mine. My over-under lock of the week is the Chargers Vegas over. That's easy.
That's what I was kind of going with.
I mean, you can pick it too. We don't have to be different.
I was saying if I wasn't going to pick a spread game, I'd go with that over and give you that one. But I'm just.
If you want to use that one, I can change.
No. I'm going to stick with the Washington football team.
And I'll take the.
No, you got to pick an over-under as well. We're each going to do.
We're doing over. Okay. I'm taking that as well.
Okay, so to be contrarian, since I'll give Nick the Chargers one, and I will say Green Bay, San Francisco under tonight.
I'm going to go a little off the board. If you want me to change my pick, you can, but I'm going to go Dallas team total under against this Pittsburgh defense.
Which is what?
I believe, I don't have it up in front of me, I want to say that it was 18, and the actual game over is 42, and I don't even know what the Dallas one is, but I'm taking the team under there.
Dallas team under.
I will get back to you on what it is.
18. We may have to edit that.
He's doing a lot of little prop bets here, up and down.
18 seems a bit high, if you ask me. I don't really think it's probably that, but yeah, pull it up for us.
And we can go with while we talk about that. This leads us into trivia. Speaking of politics, and a little bit of sports, obviously, because this is a sports podcast, going all the way back to 1967, the first ever Super Bowl, I'm going to give you a couple little things. First ever Super Bowl was played by what 2 teams?
Chiefs and Packers.
Yes.
Okay. And then, obviously, Green Bay won. Going all the way back there, which president was in office during the first ever Super Bowl?
Lyndon B. Johnson.
Correct.
Yeah, with no guess. Well done.
Correct. He took over for Kennedy.
Did they go to the White House in that first Super Bowl?
They did not.
Ah.
But just a little bit of things, since we're talking about the election.
know that? How do you know whether or not they went to the White House? You already knew that information?
Yeah.
I'm just shocked.
I was looking up when our first football team went to the White House, but then I couldn't really find that. So
Main reason I knew that is I've been following the political map very closely, and the 72 election, in which Richard Nixon won every single state in the country except in 72. Yeah, so this was a little later, but he won every single state in the country except for Massachusetts. Only state that didn't vote for him. 1972.
It's the last time Mass went blue, or Mass went red.
Reagan.
Yeah, 84.
No. It's good stats.
Yeah, good stats. Good
Everyone
stats.
participating this week.
Oh, good trivia, Nick. Thank you. Very, very topical. All right. Following that, I guess we're all set on the bets. We've got our trivia in. Next, it's on to Survivor.
You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
Yeah, you guys in the big league, right?
Yeah, no, definitely still in it.
Still in it.
Tennessee.
Everyone's still in it, right?
I'm in the second chance pool.
Oh, okay.
I'm in neither.
Why is that?
Because
What knocked you out?
I picked against the Bengals the 1 week they decided to win.
Now let me get this straight. You are a Bengals fan,
Yes.
diehard Bengals fan, and they're the team that knocked you out in not one league but both of the leagues.
Correct. I was foolish enough to pick the Titans in both leagues.
Interesting.
I was foolish enough to follow his lead because he is a Bengals fan, and I trusted his knowledge of his team. Apparently, he doesn't know shit. So I'm out of the big one. I'm still alive in the second chance. And Nick, you're alive in both?
I am out on the second chance. I got out on the Patriots a couple of weeks ago
Okay.
against I don't know, Patriots at some point.
Probably Denver. So
yeah, it was on actually Denver. Yeah.
So who are your guys' top picks for this week? I know who my favorite one is, but I don't know if I want to use him. It's Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh and Kansas City are the obvious ones. I mean, and if you want to use one of those quote-unquote powerhouses, go for it. Green Bay is another obvious one with all of San Fran's injuries. If you're looking to save those three big guys and still go after it for this week, if you have New England against the Jets, if you have Houston available against Jacksonville without Gardner Minshew, those are the easy ones. Beyond that, it's getting to be dart throws. Titans. Do you trust the Titans like I did last week? Or
I mean, he's talking a lot for someone that's out of the league. Just say, I agree with all of it. Right now, I have Houston still available, so I'm 100% taking Houston in my one Survivor league. They're scheduled down the line: Cleveland, New England, Detroit, Indy, Chicago, Cincinnati, Tennessee. Probably
So
if you look at,
I get where you're going. If you're going to take Houston this year, this is the week. If you don't take them now, you're probably not going to take them again, or it's going to be a much riskier situation.
Exactly. Especially
not again.
Especially with no Minshew, it seems like I know they have a tough, bad run defense.
Both teams are coming off a bye.
Both teams coming off a bye, which is interesting. But the big thing why I wouldn't use Pittsburgh, which was my first lock, is that Houston is there, kind of sitting by, where I can pick Pittsburgh week 10, 11, 13, and 15.
Pittsburgh has a lot of good matchups coming up: Cincinnati, Jacksonville, Washington. There's plenty of teams that you can use Pittsburgh with. So while they're probably the safest pick this week, yeah, there is an element of trying to hold back on that. Houston scares me though.
divisional scares me.
It's a divisional game. They're on the road, and while Deshaun Watson has looked great, and I'm sure they'll put up points against that shitty Jags defense, it's the Houston defense that worries me. And I know it's a backup quarterback, but is there any chance Jacksonville wins this game?
I mean, the Texans beat Jacksonville 30-14
With
Minshew. Now I know that's home, not at Jacksonville, but just that win itself, I look at it without Minshew, and who do we say is starting in this game for them?
I don't even remember.
It's
Is it Mike Glenn?
no Mike Glennon.
It's not Mike Glennon. I thought
It's Luton or Loughton, whatever his name is.
Against a guy that I have no idea.
6th round draft pick.
rookie.
I believe so.
How do we even pick?
Yes, Jake Luton, 6th round pick this year.
I mean,
Yeah.
they were 30-14 game last time. Deshaun Watson even had 2 picks on good drives. I mean, I don't understand how this Washington team, this Jacksonville team beats the Texans.
As I'm understanding it, we power rate Pittsburgh probably 1, and then if you don't want to use them, you want to save them, or you already have used them, then Houston's probably the second choice.
I mean, I think Kansas City's the second choice.
Kansas City
Obviously is the second choice. I think Houston's your third.
Change your tune because New England was your big one before. Are you having second thoughts on New England instead of Houston?
Well, I'd rather face New England week 17, knowing which this team's coming up. Is the only other time I'd pick New
You
England.
mean New England facing the Jets? Yeah.
New England's facing the Jets week 17. If I happen to make it that far, it's a week that I'm usually, some leagues are picking 2 teams at a time. I'd rather lose on New England when I'm facing 2 weeks in 17 than.
So yeah, right now we have to pick 2 in the second chance pool. At least I have to. Right now I have Houston and New England, but I'm debating if I should change one of them and go with Pittsburgh as a safer pick.
You have Green Bay left?
I have all of them left. I used Cleveland, Detroit, Philly, and Tampa.
Green Bay I have next week.
Green Bay has a nice juicy Jags matchup next week. So I'm trying
home against the Jacksonville.
They got a lot of good matchups. So, I mean, it's really just if I happen to be alive in the second chance still, I mean, I would probably be leaning something like a Houston and New England to try to save the powerhouses. But it's if you're going to use a powerhouse, which one do you use, KC, Pittsburgh, or Green Bay?
my dilemma. So I'm going to use Houston and New England in our second chance, but in my other survivor pool, I only have to pick 1 for the rest of the year. There's no double picking, and I'm debating if I should just pull the trigger on Pitt or if I should go with one of these 2 and basically double dip on my survivor situation.
So there's definitely a way out. I think with doing 1 team and picking Pittsburgh now.
Yeah, I have them right now. I think week 11, and that's a week where I didn't see any good matchups. Do you have the survivor grid up?
Yeah. Week 11, they're playing at Jacksonville. You have the Chargers against the Jets.
Already used them.
Okay. You have Saints against the Falcons. Home against the Falcons.
Yeah, okay. It's not. I don't love it, but yeah.
You'll have Minnesota against Dallas.
Okay.
Home against Dallas.
Yeah, if the quarterback situation's still bad, which it probably will be.
And then you get into a little bit tougher ones. You get Kansas City home at Vegas. You have Baltimore home against Tennessee. You got Seattle against Arizona home.
Okay, so there are options, but Pitt, that's the week you kind of want to save Pitt for if you can.
I want to save Pitt for week 11, where it's the strongest matchup of the available teams.
I gotcha.
Week 10, you have Green Bay. Week 12.
That's a tough week. Week 12 is tough, and that's where I kind of want to save the Saints for. So then all of a sudden,
Week 12, have you picked the Dolphins yet?
Yes, against the Jets.
Have you picked the Browns?
Yes. No.
At Jags.
Browns at Jags.
That's woof. So
You
okay.
have the Rams at home against San Fran.
So it seems like the way we're going to kind of power rate this, and it depends on who you've picked, what you want to save, but Pitt, Kansas City, Houston, New England, Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, in a second chance league, if I have to pick 2 right now, I'm picking Houston and New England.
Based on strength of schedule going forward.
So you have to, in those types of leagues, you have to take some risks because you're going to have to take risks at some point. You might as well get them now and save some.
Yeah, I agree, especially in a league where there's so many people left and you're going to have to make it to at least week 15 to 17.
Right now,
you got to take some chances now.
Right now, I think everyone's going to be going on Pitt. Everyone's going to jump. I think a decent amount of people are going to jump on New England.
A lot of people are going to be on New England for sure.
And I think Houston is going to be a middle tier team that I think people have probably already picked them against Jacksonville.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, and that worked. And I think there's just nothing else for them to. They'll probably win a few more games, but
yeah.
Nervous-wise, yeah, I'm nervous on everything else.
Oh, yeah.
I hear you there. Okay. Well, good luck with everyone's survivor picks, except for Max. He doesn't have any left. And I think we've got a.
I should just go with the Falcons against the Broncos.
Broncos against the Falcons, you mean?
No.
I thought you were making fun of me again for picking against my team.
Oh. Maybe I was picking for my team. And it was,
Okay, you heard it here first. The Falcons will lose outright. Denver money line is the play this week based on Nick's evaluation. Speaking of bets and upcoming games, let's jump right into the Thursday night props and we can wrap this up, guys.
Thursday night props. I think I said it last week. I don't know. My memory's a little.
You did.
It's Devontae Adams. I don't know why I didn't take him plus 350 for 2 touchdowns.
That was I was about to say. Do you think a 2-touchdown week again?
This week I am taking minus 167 at anytime touchdown, and I'm doubling down, getting plus 300 for 2 touchdowns.
Oh, I see plus 250 here.
Oh,
Same.
This morning it was plus 300. So
that's why you got to get on bets early, guys.
I may not have told someone to take that. I'm patting myself.
Oh yeah. We're gonna go with the Robert Tonyan 3 touchdowns again.
The Robert Tonyan 3 touchdowns. I didn't even look at it because if I look at it, it may hit again. But what was that? Plus 4,000 or something like that.
It was when we looked at it, it was plus 6,900 and it hit.
Yeah.
And we didn't bet it.
This week
It's 7,900.
7,400
7,400 for 3. Gosh. 1,100 for 2.
But yes, I'm not going to go into Tonyan even though because it's just. Even at the 1 yard line, he goes to Devontae Adams on these outouts.
Yep.
So, not even fades, it's simple outouts or slants.
And they don't have any running backs, so that's only going to help feed Adams and Tonyan. And
I'm going to take Devontae Adams, 8 catches or over 7.5 is minus 115. Taking that. Devontae Adams is over 84.5 yards. I don't think I'm going to go with that.
You could get it at even money if you bump it up to 93 yards.
I just don't like betting yardages.
Yep.
I like betting catches because the targets are always there for Adams.
Yep.
And he's one of the surefire catcher. He never drops anything.
Why'd you have to say that?
You guys want to go into Rodgers? If you think it's going to be a little blowout, over 2.5 touchdowns is minus 115 as well.
It's not bad.
I like that, but there's no reason
to stay away from Devontae Adams.
Just to spread it out. When you see a thing at minus 167 from anytime touchdown, the only person he even sees on the field, Rodgers, is Devontae Adams. It's going to be a Devontae Adams show. Everyone take out the fake bank account and bet the bank account on this.
Write the check, give it to the bank, say, don't worry, I'll have your money tomorrow. Okay. The prop I like the most as I'm just kind of scrolling through here.
Besides the Adams bet, yes.
Besides the Adams bet, Jerick McKinnon, rushing yards.
I saw
28 rushing yards is minus 115. That's it?
So it's going to be Hasty as the number 1 bet.
Of course.
But I did love McKinnon at that, even though he hasn't gotten touches in the last 3 weeks.
So, yeah, the last couple weeks he's lost some touches because apparently his legs feel tired. But, no, he had a rushing touchdown last week.
Yeah.
I think it was receiving now.
100% rushing.
Was it a 1 yard rush?
Oh, yeah, it was it was 2 yards. But the problem this week is Jerick McKinnon is going to have to play because, as we talked about earlier, San Fran is down Kittle, they're down Bourne, they're down Ayuk, they're down Debo. There's no one there. And granted, he'll probably be getting more catches than rushes, but to get to 28 rushing yards for the best offensive player that they're going to have on the field, I think it's easy.
Hasn't gotten 28 rushing yards since week 4.
Well, yeah, but Tevin Coleman's out, Jeff Wilson Jr.'s out. What other options do they?
They can't run Hasty 25 times. If you don't like that, my second bet.
No, I'm saying I do like it. I'm just trying to push down.
Devil's advocate.
Understood.
Last 2 weeks he's gone 3 rushes minus 1 yard.
So I like that, but the bet I might even like a little bit more is Jerick McKinnon over 3.5 catches plus 110.
Wow.
All right, both of these are very enticing. I'm literally licking my chops. I got Chipotle outside. #ad. In our podcast.
Chipotle, where the guacamole is only mildly bad.
So I have that waiting. That poll's gonna last not even 5 seconds. Probably gonna bet this game, those 2 props a little bit faster. Those are 2 good ones.
Over 3.5.
McKinnon over 3.5. What do you have? McKinnon over rush yards as well.
28. Yep. 28. And that's minus 115. You can bump up to 38 if you want.
To get even? Is that what
It was plus 110, I think. No, it was more than that.
What's even money?
It's plus 108 for 38. It's even money's probably about 34, 35.
See, I don't really like pushing it up that much.
I don't either. That's why I think the 28
28
is safe.
nice. It's not worth the risk on the extra money.
I mean, I think he may break that in 1 or 2 carries based on.
He has potential
how
to.
Green Bay's fully covered the run.
Like that. And Libs, anything?
I don't think I have much to add. You guys really.
It's a tough game.
Out from tonight's game.
It's a tough game. We took I think the 2 preps, the bets I actually had written down and looked at, and then I just literally just went off and said I only need to look at Adams. But anything else? Hasty, maybe a Tanyan prop. Who's the other wide receiver? Scantling, is that?
Valdez-Scantling hasn't looked good.
Alan Lazard's not back tonight, is he?
No. St. Brown could be an option.
Equinemius St. Brown.
Equinemius.
Any props? I know you like team total unders, over and unders.
He's not even fucking on here.
You want to take any unders in these San Fran under?
No,
San Fran.
I don't.
Passing yards.
I think Allen's got a chance to play still.
I mean, is this has anyone who's the quarterback over there?
What?
Mullins.
What's his prop for passing yards? Anyone have that?
His passing yards props 206 minus 222, 216 is minus 114. Even money's 226.
Can you take unders?
Yeah.
If there's an under.
Yeah. Under 216 is negative 114, minus 114.
Oh my goodness. How is he getting 216 passing yards? I can't even name a wide receiver.
I mean, he did drive down the field last week. Looked pretty good.
Yeah, but that was with Debo and Ayuk.
Debo didn't play.
Oh, fair. Okay. Ayuk
Yeah.
was
And Kittle was out. He had a backup tight end in there. Yeah, he had Ayuk, but the offense isn't much different. Trent Williams is also out, which is a little scary.
I was surprised they cut Dante Pettis, too, just as a side note.
I literally can't even think of a name.
Oh, who a receiver is there?
I was surprised they cut Ayuk. I think they're regretting that now that they've had this influx of COVID. But
well, let's see. Receiving yards. They don't even. T. Taylor.
James Ritchie. You said Trent Taylor's out.
Trent Taylor's out?
Oh, no. Trent Taylor and James Ritchie. You said Trent Williams is out. Sorry.
Yeah, Trent Williams out.
Trent Taylor and James Ritchie are their 2 listed receivers.
Taylor, 54 yards.
On the year?
Receiving yards. No, receiving yards is the prop bet to get even money. On this guy I've never heard of in my life.
What's Taylor? What's James?
It's not up here. I don't see it. But in either event, it's a game I tread lightly on the props. I think McKinnon and Adams are good ones to attack. If you can try to find a little bit of value somewhere else, maybe there is with some obscure San Fran guys, but I wouldn't trust any of them.
Yep.
Maybe play some unders on those guys, if anything. So, anything else, guys?
I think that's it.
That's it. Okay, well, should be an interesting week 9. Hopefully our picks will turn out a lot better this week than they did last week. And make sure to get some of these props in tonight before the game kicks off. Remember to like us on YouTube, share it around with anyone you can, subscribe, ring the bell. Any help would be great. And yeah, thanks for coming in.
See ya.